The first range we're going to look at is the Velocity. They all retail around the $99.99 price bracket, and there's 5 rods in the range. The first one is an 11 foot 2 3/4. We also do a 12 foot 2 3/4 and a 3, and a 13 foot 3 and a 13 foot 3.5. They're all come with an option really of 50 or 40 mil rings. Some people like the 50 mil for the line fraps. If you're chucking bags a long distance, you don't want to be frapping up. And also what you've got is a 16 mil tip. Now the tip is overly large, if you like. That really does cut down on the frap ups if you get any weed through your line, onto your line that can go through your tip eye. It's an anti-wrap tip, so again on the casting it eliminates all the frap ups. And if you're using kind of long rigs, when you're packing your rods away, you can get a lead clip and a sort of tail rubber through them if you want to put your rig in the second eye up. The stainless butt cap on the end is an anti-scratch engraved stainless butt cap. A lot of them on different rods. You put it into gravel if you're fishing quite boggy swims, or where there's lots of stones, you can mark them. And purely from a tackle tart's point of view, it looks a lot nicer. Moving now up the blank, you've got a full Japanese shrink wrap, which again is what the market seems to want these days. It's very minimalistic, very thin, and it looks absolutely lovely when they're actually in situ. Just twist that round. We've got the anti-stop sort of backrest, as we call it. That will sit behind obviously any sort of backrest that you choose to use, and it will stop the rod being pulled forward in the event of a really sort of savage take. Reel seat. What we've done on all the ranges of the Shimano rods is we've made the reel seat compatible with any single reel that we actually do. So that means from a very small bait runner all the way up to a long cast or a technium, we've made them sort of longer, so you can just extend them out. So even if you want to use a 2 3/4 with a big pit reel, we've give you that they'll get that option to do so. Onto the line clip. Now a lot of line clips that are made of carbon can actually kink your line. Now I always use line clips. That's purely because I want to know if a fish is pulled and for whatever reason I've not noticed, or my alarm's packed up or whatever may have happened, if it's pulled it out the clip, you know that you've had some sort of indication. But if you make them out of plastic, it doesn't kink your line. Moving on to the 3K weave, that's a carbon 3K weave, and it really is a nice touchdown on the bottom of the rod. And onto the actual engraving on the rod, the Velocity name there, it's handwritten. So what it has done is give it that real custom built feel to the actual finished rod. One rod in particular in the Velocity range that's caught my eye, and one that I've been using quite a lot in testing, is the Velocity 11 foot 2 3/4. Now there is still an argument out there that you should really match the rod to the venue that you're fishing. So in this instance, where we are today, it's only a small little venue. You wouldn't want to come here with a 13 foot out and out casting tool because you're far too overgunned. And there's lots and lots of these commercial sort of small up close and personal venues opening up now. And what that 11 foot rod does give you, in an instance where we are, there's lots of sort of little casts and pads, so the accuracy is second to none. And also when you're landing fish in tight swims, you've got less sort of rod out there within 11 foot, so it's easier to get full control over the fish when you're landing it. Much better feel. I don't think that you can't put this a long way. I've put this, in particular this rod, over 100 yards. It's about balancing it up. So even with a small bait runner and a 2.5 ounce lead, I'm balancing the rod up perfectly. So 100 yards is quite achievable for me with a rod like this. And I remember years ago, when Noah had built the Ark, when I started carp fishing, that my first carp rods were 11 foot. And they just seem to go out of vogue, if you like. But I think you're going to see a lot of these 11 foot models on the market over the next few years.